So hello, as Omer said, my name is Batel and I want to talk to you today about why bigger is better. When I was 4 years old, I went outside to play with the kids in the neighborhood, and some older kids, I think they were 6 years old, pointed at me and laughed at me and called me a midget, and I really managed not to weep in the neighborhood, because if you cry in the hood, you might as well move to a different country. And I ran home to my mother and burst in tears and told her, Mommy, I'm never playing outside in the neighborhood again. The kids are laughing at me and call me a midget. It's much safer to stay at home and watch MTV. And my mom looked at me and said, you are now going outside and I'm locking the door, and you cannot come back home until you have at least 2 friends. So I went outside because you don't mess with a Jewish Russian mother. And she locked the door. And are you sure you're seeing me? Because I swear to God, I can't stand on that table. Yeah? I don't want to. I have a career on standing on tables. That's for another lecture. But I think the cheap seats in the back still needs to see. Thank you. My stairs. Kol tov. It's okay. It's okay. Now everyone can see me, even from space. So what I said? You don't say and I came back home only after I met Rotem and Limor, my 2 best friends, throughout the entire period of elementary school. This story is the foundation of my education, and it's a part of the foundation of who I am today. I was born 30 years ago in communist Romania. Now, the thing about communist Romania is that there is no medications, no painkillers, nothing. My mother is 22 years old, her first birth, after 3 days of labor pain in the cold snow weather, where all they did was to pour some cold water on her and to say, "Calm down, woman. Don't scream so loud." A tiny baby with an exceptionally large head, pop out into the world. The communist doctors gather around her and say, "Never mind. You'll have more children. You are more than welcome to leave this baby at one of the orphanages we have around town." My mother, passed out from pain, asks them, what do you want from me? And they tell her, listen, the baby has short legs, which implies that she most likely won't grow taller and will be crippled. And she also has a large head. A large head implies of fluid in her brain. Fluid in the brain is a child with a mental retardation, which means you have a child which is both retarded and potentially crippled. Better luck on the next one. My terrified mother pulls me out of their communist hands, and we arrive in Israel. In Israel, yeah. The Israeli doctors, who are not communists, who are regular doctors, simply say that the tiny child with an exceptionally large head just has achondroplasia. So what do I actually have? A short biology lesson. Achondroplasia is a form of shortness. There are over 21,000 different forms. Not everyone who is short, tiny, is achondroplastic. I lack a specific cartilage that exists in the arms and legs that is responsible of the lengthening of the limbs. My torso is normal. When I sit down, I am the same height as you are. No need for a baby booster, and no, I don't have a heart the size of a peanut or a uterus the size of an ant. My internal organs are sized. It's a rare phenomenon, not a genetic one, that occurs once in 66,000 births. By the way, The same missing cartilage that exists in the legs also exists in the nose. If you place your finger, your nose starts between your eyebrows. Mine begins between my eyes, which means that when you grow old, your nose will keep growing and growing, and mine won't. Mine will stay tiny forever. These days, with all the wonders of advanced technology, you can find out if the fetus is suspiciously tiny already during pregnancy, so many families decide to have abortions. Look well, like the polar bears and the dinosaurs, I am a dying breed too. An endangered species. There will be no more people like me. We are slowly but surely fading away from the face of the earth. Okay, so I started by saying that I wanted to talk to you today about why bigger is better. Well, I, ladies and gentlemen, have big dreams. I've always had. The first time I realized what I wanted to be was at the age of 11. We opened the newspaper and found an ad children needed for a new production of Oliver Twist that will be produced in Tel Aviv. I went all excited over with my mother to the big city of Tel Aviv and stood in front of the director and did the first audition in my life. Not only did I get the part, but they announced that they will be writing a part especially for me. Listen carefully. My first part in the repertoire, National Israeli Theater, Habima Theater, Beggar number 4. It's a girl without a name, a girl that was thrown to the street and they forgot to give her name. Basically, don't be scared. What I would do the entire show is to stand behind Oliver Twist with my hand out like this. That was the choreography. And following him around saying, donation, donation, give me a donation. Sometimes I would improvise. Woohoo! Go crazy and do it on the other side with the other hand and go donation, donation. This musical made me take 4 trains, 2 cabs, and a bus every day, back and forth, alone to Tel Aviv for 2 years at the age of 11. And those 2 years were one of the most enjoyable, heartwarming, and meaningful periods in my life because I discovered in every single vein in my body that what I wanted to do from that point on was to stand on a stage and have a light on me and a place where I can expose my soul in one way or another, which in my eyes is the essence of what it means to be an actor. Now, when a girl discovers at such a young age and so passionately what she wants to do, there are very few things that can divert her from it. Now, with all due respect, you are tiny as an actress. Please, where will you? Oh, how cute. You found a hobby. Great. Now invest in school. But I didn't care. I wanted to go big. I wanted to be an actress. And once the light went off on Oliver Twist and the production was over, we, ladies and gentlemen, have entered into puberty, which is a shitty age. The best part about puberty is that it eventually ends. Look, at puberty I understood. Really, I understood. I was different. I also realized that there will be boys who won't want to love me because of the way I look. And as a girl, hormonal, that from the age of 4 took Rafi Rabo behind the sandbox in the kindergarten and told him, Rafi, let's get married. As a teenager, I used to take the hottest kid in school behind the local youth center and say something coherent and convincing like, hi. I sort of like you a bit, you know, and a little sort of kind of in love with you, right? So I was thinking like maybe you fancy being my boyfriend, like, you know, and then he would look at me and say, ah! I don't want a girlfriend right now. And later, I will see him walking hand in hand with my best friend. Really, really dark times. And I thought I was very unfortunate and abnormal. So I started having what if thoughts. What if I'll go to sleep and wake up in the morning as hot as a babe at a normal height? And I started thinking about the surgery. There is a very brutal surgery that exists since the Inquisition days. What do they actually do? Break your arms and legs. Break. Add screws made of metal, iron screws, into the fracture. And for a year, I would need to lie handicapped because my arms and legs are broken. And every day, I'd need to turn the screws on myself. Turn, and stretch myself every day by 1 millimeter till at the end of that process, I would supposedly be adding 8 inches to myself. Now, my lovely, fabulous, dear audience, my height is 48 inches. Another 8 inches are not the sort of things that will bring peace to the Middle East. And also, what does it mean? What does it mean that a person is willing to break their arms and legs? People are actually doing it for 8 inches. What are those 8 inches? I don't know. At that time, I thought I was very unfortunate and abnormal. And I remember sitting with my girlfriends who were at a normal height. I would sit with them and say, listen, I'm not happy with the way I look, and I'm in love, and he doesn't love me back, and I wish I looked like Britney Spears in the video. Oops, I did it again with a head-to-toe overall. Cannot wear overalls. And during these meetings, something interesting happened. My girlfriends, who were at a normal height, they weren't missing any inches anywhere, would sit and say the exact same things about themselves. They were also unhappy about the way they looked. They also loved someone and he didn't always love them back, and they too aspired to look like the conventional physical images they showed us on TV. That's when I realized that the fact that I lack 8 inches in my arms and legs don't make me any more different than anyone else. Everyone carries their own baggage. Some are not happy about their weight, their color, their ethnicity. Some have ADHD, some have divorced parents, and some, like me, have all of the above. Just because I'm missing 8 inches in my arms and legs doesn't make me any more different than anyone else. This realization, this feeling set me free. And slowly but surely, the sentences I heard in my childhood, my mother would force me to say, who is the most beautiful girl in the world? I am. Who is the smartest? Me. By the way, this created narcissistic complexes later along the way, but it's also another talk, another time. The sentences I heard in my childhood about me being the most beautiful, the smartest girl in the world, began to sink in. And I started believing it, feeling it. And people began to respond to it. I realized that being pretty or sexy has nothing to do with looks, and most definitely not with height, but with the way you carry yourself in the world, your behavior. In Israel, the next big thing after puberty is the army draft. It's part of Israeli society, part of Israeli culture, and it was clear to me that I will join the army as well and share my part, although in the depths of my heart, I just wanted to meet a hot soldier. They made it very clear to me in the recruiting office that people under a certain height and a certain weight, for that matter, cannot join the army, so I am more than welcome to turn around and go back home. What do you mean? I, who was willing to give my time, sacrifice my best years for the country and for the shidduch, for that matter. Okay? And they won't let me. Why? So when they don't let you in the front door, there is always the back door or a window. I volunteered to the IDF. I served for 3 years, even though girls don't have to serve more than two. First, as a soldier, social worker, and later as a broadcaster at the military radio station, Galay Tzahal Galgalatz, which is the most listened to station in the country. My military service made me tough. It taught me that nothing will come to me if I don't make it happen well. I started by saying that I wanted to talk to you today about why bigger is better. And as I told you, I have big dreams, and I always has. And when I was 21, I finally realized that I have to be an actress. I want to be an actress. I cannot wait to be an actress. And Tommy Batel, come on, you are older now. What will you live off? How will you make a living? Go study law, work at a post office. But I didn't care. You know, today, I am an actress. I acted on TV shows and films and theaters. But mostly, I travel around the country and the world telling my story because I can't help it. I am an actress, and I have to expose my soul. So maybe you didn't have a Jewish Soviet mother like I did. But I invite you to believe as if you belong in this world, because we all feel sometimes this world is too big for us to handle. I invite you to discover that your defect is probably what makes you effective, your strength, the secret of your magic, and to understand that nobody can tell you what you can or cannot do. Only you know what you're capable of. And actually, 4 years ago, I found out that life is bigger than any punchline you can come up with. When I was 14, I met the cutest, most talented guy at a summer theater camp. His name was Borenstein. He had eyes the color of the sea and a kind and pure heart that made me believe in God. He had a long ponytail like Jesus and a girlfriend. And then when I moved to another school, I was amazed to see him there too. He was even hotter than I remembered, with a longer hair and a new girlfriend who looked like she came out of a shampoo ad. One day, when I came back home from the army, sweating in my uniforms, there he was on the bus, the best-looking soldier in the world with shaved head, and I felt my heart melting and thought to myself, now it's my chance for a great romance with hot soldier. Nir smiled, a big smile to me, and helped me carry my suitcase that was big enough that I could smuggle myself and a few refugees in it. And then he told me he had a new girlfriend. No great romance for me. 4 years ago, I celebrated the 100th performance of I Am Batel. After the show, Nir Borenstein was waiting for me backstage. It's been 9 years since the last time I saw him, and he melted my heart just like before, only more. He gave me a kiss and said that the show was great, and in his hand, he held a new girlfriend. I thought God was kidding me. 3 years ago, I met Nir Borenstein for a drink. He was single for a change and told me he's fed up of relationships. But I told him that I love him and that my love will continue even if he couldn't return my love, because I love him for the person he is and for his kind and pure heart. To my surprise, it worked. So did everyone notice that I am wearing a very sparkly dress? Yes? Okay, I just wanted to make sure. And today, Nir Borenstein and I are together. He's the best person I know. He is my proof God exists, and apparently God really loves me. And actually, a year ago, I proposed to him because I'm a very patient girl. And he said yes, so you can call me Mrs. Borenstein, because we got married 6 months ago. And if someone was to say, but listen, we are giving you a pill. A pill. Medicine, no surgery, painless. You swallow it, go to sleep, and wake up in the morning as hot not as a babe at the normal height? I would say no. Because if I were a regular height, I wouldn't be Batel. I believe bigger is better. I believe in big dreams, big ideas, big hopes. I believe in big love. I believe that no matter what shape or size you are, it's the shape of your dreams and the size of your courage to chase them that will determine how big your footprint here will be. So thank you, our eye sparkles. Thank you. I'm in great shape.